Welcome to Real Estate Milestones, where we explore fascinating topics in commercial real estate with knowledgeable industry experts. I'm your host, Ben Malik, and I'm a young real estate professional who is passionate about adding value to people's lives through the incredible power of real estate. My goal is to help you discover what the heck is going on in the industry and how you can get involved. This is Real Estate Milestones, where your future in real estate lies just around the corner. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Estate Milestones. Today is a milestone on the podcast because it's the 50th episode of the show. And for the 50th episode, we're actually having the first, let's go. We're having the first in-person podcast recording yet. So this is going to be pretty awesome. We got Sorrell Brown, who's a friend of mine from New Orleans. Met him last year, a couple of years ago. Oh, sorry. Friend of mine from New Orleans for me, you know? But yeah, he's from Texas. I know him because we met in New Orleans. And he's the founder and owner of Rellestate Renovations, which is a new general contracting company, construction company in New Orleans. So Sorrell, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, pleasure to have it. Appreciate it. Looking forward to being on.
Awesome. Yeah, it's exciting. So well, let's start. We both went to Tulane. You played football at Tulane. It's pretty awesome. I want to hear a little bit about your experience playing football, but also Tulane, if people aren't watching the news or, are not avid Tulane fans, we just won the conference championship. The team just won the conference championship. We're going to the Cotton Bowl, which is going to be in Texas, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm excited to go too. But so how's that as a fan, I guess, or as an alumni? And yeah, just want to hear a little bit about
just like
experience.
my experience as playing at Tulane.
Yeah.
So I had kind of a different experience playing at Tulane because I came in ready to go, ready to start, ready to play. And within my first seat, like before we even started fall camp, I had tore my ACL. So I spent the whole year just recovering from surgery. It took me like 9 months to get all the way back around, right? And I tore that on August 1st of like 2018. On August 1st of 2019, I tore my meniscus on the other knee. So then I missed my sophomore year too. So my freshman, sophomore year, boom, out the door. Like, did not have any playing time. I played a little bit in like spring and stuff, but definitely those 2 years were a big like shock for me because I thought a lot of my college experience was going to be spent towards football, and very quickly it wasn't. Very suddenly, so like I had to kind of adapt what that would kind of look like, and just keeping it, through like just to answer more your question on the football side, we can dive deeper into other things about college experience. But like I played my junior year, finally was feeling a lot better, and finally got to like get on the field more. My knee was still bothering me, so I was kind of in and out of practices and out of games, but still enough to where like I was still able to play. Like I started a few games at the beginning and like in the season, and that was just like surreal.
Yeah.
It's like, like play, like even though Tulane relatively is like a smaller college, it still is a big FBS. Highest level college football.
Yeah,
so
D1.
Like, yeah, exactly. So like, man, like there's so many times I remember being like high school, elementary, whatever, and knowing I want to play football. I'd watch these cats on like TV and see like Tulane playing or whoever was playing, and it was just like just starstruck. Like it's like you don't understand that you're gonna get to that age where that can be a possibility. It's just like these are like people that are performing like on TV. Like it's like, and I say that because like it like in games and in like practice and stuff, I would literally like stop and like take one with like I play football like at Tulane. Like we're running through like a tunnel. Like we're in freaking Navy where's that, Maryland? There's freaking fighter jets going down the field before we go off for like kickoff. And it's just like it was really dope. Like I really really cool opportunity, and like I take even though although very limited, it was a dope experience, and we were okay, like we did well, like 6-5 going, but I didn't play my senior year, and I think it was so like that was the first time I wasn't able to like be a part of the team. I had to medically disqualify for football, and then but now seeing them like take from last year going like 2-8, 2-10 to like flipping it totally around. And
Completely.
It's the same team, guys that like, I was in the locker room with like the year before and stuff. It's just amazing. So happy for them. And like, this is so cool. Like the Cotton Bowl, like that was the
It's a
biggest bowl
big
game I
deal.
could think of when I was like younger.
Absolutely, in
So,
Texas,
yeah.
right?
So this is dope, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm excited to go to the Cotton Bowl and yeah, finish 14 in the country. Could be even better, Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Well, I guess get into real estate. We'll start every podcast with the question: what was your first milestone in real estate?
I would say my first milestone in real estate was I've always taken it from like kind of like I wanted to, at the end of the day, like real estate is understanding like the value of the property, the value of like the building as well. So I kind of took it from, relate this back to like football. I took this from like a very like simple approach of like, okay, if I'm going to learn how to do something, I want to learn it to like its fullest like extent of it. There's two things about that, but like, yeah, so my first interaction with real estate was really just like going back to when I went back to Texas during Ida. I worked for a company called Spectra. They do a property service like building commercial real estate, commercial development, residential development as well. And I just worked as like a crewman. So I was out there like hanging like drywall painting, on top of like the stockyards, like blow torching the roof, like very like ground work, and with no intent of being, a construction worker, but that was my interaction with like real estate, because I was understanding what goes into the like building process, how much material is going to be needed, how much time it's going to take to get these very basic things done. And that's kind of been that was like my first like step into it. It's like, okay, my first step into real estate was really looking at it from like a construction side. And that was like my sophomore year going into my junior year of college.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, even now, like obviously I've started my own business and I've worked with other construction companies, but it's with the intent of being basically like undeniable or like well-rounded once I enter into my own investments within real estate.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's awesome, because I feel like it's a lot of people in real estate that don't have the background where like you started at like the lowest level in like the best way possible. Like you got the experience, like you actually see what it's like to work there. You get to see what the interaction like between the workers and the, person who's running the construction. And then there's even like the next level, there's the construction manager to the owner, or even to like the development manager. But like, seeing it from this level, and I mean, you've been working your way up because you've been at different parts of the industry at different companies. But I mean, that's a perspective I don't think I'm going to get, because I'm kind of starting at the corporate level, or I guess the financial level, back the office doing the Excel sheets and, running the numbers. So, I mean, it's what do you think about in terms of how you learn from like that experience, I guess, starting, and then even from there, what's the process of seeing it from that perspective, something that I'm not good, I haven't gotten. So
yeah, and that's, I know we talked about this a while back. Thing at the event was like that's something that I still need to get better at, is like the more like the financial side of it, because those are two essential parts of like real estate. I think it's like obviously the construction, knowing what to like, how long it takes, so you have like a good schedule, have a good cost analysis, but also the financials, what can you do with it, what's the opportunity and stuff like that, which is like essential. And yeah, like I think that I just wanted to make sure that I had the most basics of it at first, and this kind of goes into more, we may get into this later, but like just a lifestyle of like, I wanted to be able like just to be fully like self-sufficient with my business, and make it to where it can kind of transform into these different things. And yeah, so that's a big reason why I wanted to start out with construction, is because like I really just, I've always been like very entrepreneurship minded, and I did not want to even like work, even if it was like for a real estate development like company, for a while. I wanted to, approach it just from like that construction side, but it is something that every day, like I still meet with my my former boss, Michael Bozio, who's a real estate professor, was a real estate professor at Tulane. And that way I'm still trying to attain that like real estate knowledge, and still like meeting with them that way. Like when I'm ready to take that step, or if an opportunity to approach where I can
Right.
JV with, like
Mhm.
a developer or something like that, then I have the wherewithal and the financial knowledge to understand it's a good deal. We can get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so funny because like you started by saying like you get to know like the schedule, like you get to know what things cost, the assumptions, how to do that. Like the funny thing is like here on my desk like creating an Excel model where like I know like it works. Like all the assumptions lead into the outcomes. Like I got a complex like understanding. I can do like sensitivity analysis. I can do like I can like discount it into the future or whatever. Understand how all that works. But I'm sitting there, it's like, wait, I have no idea what to make my assumptions. I have no idea how much it costs to get wood. I have no idea how much it costs to get, bricks. I don't even know how to get those things. Like, I don't even know where to start. And it's just like, it's so funny. It's really, I think I think it's gonna be easier for you to learn the finance stuff than me to learn the construction and make the assumptions. And that's why I think teamwork is such a big part of real
That's what
estate.
I was just gonna say, man. Like
Right.
that's what's gonna fire is like I think there's a lot of knowledge in what you're saying that's also extremely critical. I can build whatever the hell I want to build or know how to build whatever, but if I don't understand how to financially understand the opportunity that I'm going into, all the different factors, and also how to like structure that deal and
Yeah.
stuff, then that means nothing. And that's where you can really get also like
You
good
take
at,
advantage
like,
of
yeah,
too,
like,
right?
so yeah, but I am definitely looking forward to like doing that type of like knowledge switching and yeah, I think my approach is just trying to take it from, I think it's like you said, I think from my thought, I think that it was the construction side is a lot harder to understand because there's just so many more like little nuance like components
Right.
to it. And I did feel like, okay, once I can get this, I've always, this is something that I also have never done. Like
Yeah.
throughout business school, I've taken like analytics and like
Right.
real estate classes and stuff. So I still more understanding of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like the transition wouldn't be as big for me to be able to like, let's focus on like the financial side of it and stuff.
Right. Especially because you're business minded, entrepreneurship minded. Like you took business school classes, like you knew you wanted to understand business. So it's like, I guess the hardest part would be if someone like didn't have the sense of it, didn't have like any business logic, it would be harder to learn the business skill of like doing stuff. But you have the logic, which is once you just learn the skill, like you can go pretty fast from there. But I mean, we mentioned the team aspect, and obviously everyone in real estate talks about how teams are, the key. Like, I mean, I haven't seen anyone, I've never seen a single person do it by himself, do the whole thing by himself. Obviously, I mean, you can't build the building, get the money. I mean, you have to get the lender, even, however you define the team. But I guess to tie in the first part about the conversation, I've seen a lot of athletes in real estate just networking, a lot of people in corporate positions. I mean, I think it makes sense why there's a lot of athletes in real estate. I'm curious in terms of what did you learn as an athlete that you think helps you in real estate or will help you, going forward?
I think that's a good question. I think that like being an athlete in real estate, there's a lot of things about like that team dynamic that is really the exact same. And I talk about this with one of my friends, Zach Harris. That was like my old boss at Zach the Builder. But always talk about like when we were trying to figure out problem solving and like just figuring out what we're gonna do next, or like how to like unpack what's going on like within our business and what we're trying to do. We always related it back to football. Literally, like it would literally just be like, well, you wouldn't tell, and he's a linebacker. So you're like, you wouldn't tell like a D lineman do this and that if I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. So that's been like a really cool aspect of like getting into real estate, getting into construction. That dynamic is still there. It's like joining like another team and like learning how to like communicate differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that's the cool side of real estate is like, and like construction as well. Like if you're like working for something, there's something that's always new. Like every day something's new, and you're meeting a lot of other people that can do things that you can't, but they still need you as well. There's so many other facets that you kind of like said earlier. And so that's why I think it is very attractive for athletes to go into real estate because they're using the same type of problem solving methods, same teamwork dynamics, but they're applying it to something else. And they're like seeing like the direct benefit of it. It's not just like you're just like at like a, like this one job that you're doing, you wake up, make a call, like the same thing every day.
Right.
Everything's different, every deal is different.
That's
And
true.
that's kind of how it is. Watch people on the track, on the court, like whatever that is. Yeah, and you kind of talked about that, before we started, is I think that's also why business owners or people that are looking for employees like coming out of college, right? They look at athletes in the sense that like, yeah, you're dedicating a lot of time into your sport, but they're seeing as like, okay, but once they dedicate that time towards me and my business, and they're gonna put that same type of mentality,
Right.
which is like sometimes difficult to develop when you haven't been a part of like a team sport.
Yeah, it's funny because it could go even like you can even go down all the way to like the individual level. Like, these people had to work hard. They had to wake up early, like lift weights, like do things that were difficult, uncomfortable. There's obviously that team dynamic that you mentioned. But they have to deal with loss. Like, how do you deal with like things not going your way? How do you adapt to a situation where you weren't expecting this, but you now have to change on the fly. There's the aspect of even in terms of like the trust, right? Like, you have to rely on some people sometimes. You can't do it all yourself. Like, no team sport can you really do it all yourself. And it makes I think it's just like the perseverance. You're already built to work hard. And some people who didn't have to get pushed like in the sport, may not have been trained to work hard. And I think that's this big aspect of it.
Yeah, and I think it's working hard, and not saying that like you have to be an athlete to be like obvious.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But it does put you in an environment where it's not even just about like working hard. Like everybody can like work hard, but like being able to kind of what you said, like take loss and use that as how to get better, and understanding that everything that goes wrong is why it's going to go like right in the future. As long as you see it as that, like if you see it as such, like, and understand like, hey, like this didn't go well. I fell on my face and got drug around.
Yeah.
And you wake up and do it again and understand like, okay, like now that's not going to happen to me again. And I'm glad that I went through that because now I know. And you just keep going instead of like letting it hold you back, or you start diverting or having these doubts. It's like you just have this perseverance that goes with that like hard work that like you're just able just to like L after L after L. You just insanely just like keep going and keep waking up and keep trying to get it again.
Well, yeah. I guess on that note, you're starting your own business, or you started your own business. That's obviously got to take a lot of work, especially being pretty young. I mean, you got the skills, but there's a lot more to starting a business than the skills, right? You got to get the clients, you got to do, all the parts. I mean, I guess first of all, I just want to hear a little bit about your inspiration for starting your own business and kind of, what's your plan? Like, what are you envisioning?
Yeah. So my inspiration for starting my own business, I'm like, glad you asked me this question. I just had a conversation a few months ago with my friend named Bean, and he kind of asked me like the same question, more along the lines of like, who's your inspiration? Like, more like who? And I couldn't give him like an answer. It's like, I think you're always just like expected to like give this person, like that you idolize. Oh, like, I saw them do that, whatnot. But in my case, like, I don't come from people that like my family wasn't involved in real estate. I had no friends that were really in real estate, right? It's just not a concept that I really started diving into until like my sophomore year of like exactly how I was going to use my business management marketing skills in order to be like an entrepreneur, even if I wasn't going to. And I think what inspired me really was figuring out, unpacking like, what is my goals in life, but really what type of lifestyle that I want to live. Like, how does that look day to day? Like, what am I able to like do? Like, am I able to like wake up and what's the first thing that I'm able to do? And that's kind of where it started going into seeing real estate as the opportunity to getting a lifestyle that I want.
Yeah.
like matching that. So that's kind of where that inspiration came from, was really like within myself. Of like, I didn't know, I hadn't seen anybody, I had no mentors, I didn't have no understanding of what the hell to do, how to get involved, whatever. I was like, this is the lifestyle that I want, and these are the possibilities that I'm wanting, like through like, that's possibly that through like real estate.
Yeah.
Fuck, like let's do it. Like let's figure it out. There's so many opportunities, like there's so many ways within real estate construction that you can make for yourself. And that's like extremely attractive, So that's kind of what inspired me, is really just understanding like what my lifestyle wanted to be in the future, what kind of life do I want to live.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. That's a good reason. And I mean, yeah, real estate offers a lot of flexibility, especially when you start owning real estate, start making money from collecting checks, and it's gonna be cool. But I guess how's it going? How's the business going? Like, tell me where you're at. You started 3 months ago, right? And yeah, so what's it looked like since then? And I mean, guess also like what services are you offering too? What's your, I mean, like what have you been doing? Like, what kind of jobs?
I'll first say, like, again, like I'm a general contractor. I do only residential stuff, drywall, paint, sheetrock, whatever that may be. Don't do roofs, but like, more renovation type. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can leverage when I get into my own real estate deals. I have my own company, right? And control of the whole construction process. I don't have to pay. Because now I know how much a general contractor really is making off of what it really costs. Wow. Like, I just did a price calculation for a real estate agent, and like allocating my price, like it looked good on the sheet, but then like putting my price into it, I was like, yeah, put it over like the budget of it, like, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm offering. And I started in October, and honestly, like it's been difficult. Like, if I'm gonna be honest with you, it has been a difficult 3 months or so. And I'll tell you why. I think when I was like first going into this, I had all this momentum built up. Like, I freaking graduated from Tulane. Like, I also have like just picked up my home inspection licensing through like Texas, like, and then I'm working at this custom home building company / real estate development. Like, I'm the main project manager. Like, I couldn't be in a better position. Like, I was like, when I start my own thing, like, and everything's like, what I'm saying? Like, I'm meeting all these different like suppliers and subs and clients and things. I just was like, all the pieces are here. Like, when I start my own thing too, I'm gonna just be flying colors out the door. Like, people are gonna be ready to go, and I'm already leading these projects of these like high-end things. I'm gonna be good to go. And kind of what I was talking about earlier, like that when I started, I kind of just jumped into it like cold turkey, of like, like small jobs leading into it on the side. I just went straight in, and quickly realized that there was a lot of things that I thought I was really good at, or I thought that I knew, that I didn't know. Or even worse, there was a lot of things that I didn't know that I didn't know until I didn't know. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that I didn't know until I didn't know.
That's the problem. The things that you don't know are not as problematic as the things you don't know you don't know. Of course.
Don't know. Like,
yeah.
And that's something that I was very humbling for me. It's like haven't been in a situation like that, to where like, and I'll go into that as like there was a few aspects. Again, like, I thought I was just gonna be shooting out and this and that, have all the answers to things. And since I did have a good construction background of like organizing the project, like once the deal was accomplished, they handed, hey, all right, so this is what we need. Go pick up these materials, order these, like finish this project out. I was like good to go. That's what I thought my business would be. Like,
right.
People are gonna like me because like, I'm likable and I know what the hell I'm talking about as far as construction. I really do know how to like build it out. So like, that's all I need.
Yeah.
But man, there's so many more, especially when you're it's
the timing too, right? You have to time. Is that an aspect like of, you like, when am I going to get this? Like, when things are going to come in, like when do I have to go to the hardware store? Like
that's something that I wasn't worried about.
Okay. Yeah.
That's something that I was like, cool. Like that's not something that I was worried about. What I ended up realizing was that there was a lot of stuff before you get to the deal, you have to get the deal for it. You have to get it
Right.
a contract in order
Mm-hmm.
to do the job, right?
Oh, there's, you're negotiating. The people who are trying to win the deals have so much more experience than you. They know how to, they know the tricks. They know
What
the
effort it made.
the sales of it. Yeah.
Like, that was a big aspect for me. Is like, I have all this construction knowledge, but a homeowner, like, you can't just come out and just start spitting facts and think that, okay, like, here, like, this is how much it costs. Like, I'm a professional and give you. No, like, you're competing with other people. You're also selling to people that obviously they're contacting me because they don't know how to do the job themselves in some capacity.
Right.
So, like, me just relying on my construction mind or experience isn't good enough. Like, you have to be a very well-versed, like, salesman as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of components that I didn't even know that I was going to need until I was already in. You know? So, like, I'm like, holy shit, like, these first, like, deals I'm going into, or these projects I'm going in, like, doing great, building rapport at the beginning.
Fake till you make it.
Like, I mean, I didn't even know yet. This is the process of it. Like, and this is like the reality of, like, entrepreneurship, or like starting your own business. Is like, there's a lot of stuff you think you're gonna be okay at, and then, like, you're gonna figure out that, like,
there's a lot to learn.
There's a lot that you don't know that you're gonna, like, have to, like, realize that you got to get better at in order to be successful. Like, that's just, it is what it is. And, like, so for me, terrible salesman, probably a good negotiator. I had no ideas what to do with, like, sales, like that whole, there's a whole skill of process of, like, being a great salesman that I was, like, not understanding of, and, like, could blatantly see it when I was interacting with my customers. Once we start talking about price, they were like, what? This is a lot of money. And I'm like, yeah, like, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do, like, cheap work, but they're not trying to, like, hear that. That's not how you influence and get people to feel comfortable with you. And I didn't understand that. So it's very frustrating. Every projected client I had was like, I was getting no. Like, I was getting my foot in the door, but like, when it came down to it, I was not able to turn it over. And so, like, I had to stop and, like, be like, what is going on? And I didn't, and this is what I'm talking about. I didn't know what I was doing wrong yet.
Yeah.
So it was very frustrating.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, from that point, well, now what? Like, now my world's shaking. I don't think I'm gonna fly through it and stuff. And now I'm at this point, like, shit, like,
yeah.
Like, I'm doing something wrong. Something's not working. Is it me or them? Like, what is it?
Yeah. Well, it's the only thing that you can affect is yourself. So you gotta assume it's yourself. Otherwise you're never gonna get,
and that's the reality of, like, again, like, entrepreneurship. Yeah. There is no fingers to point at. There's nobody to point at. Yeah. Even if you think there is, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You're still going to be stagnant. Your business not going to do anything. So you do something to overcome whatever that is.
Yeah.
So first was, like, identifying what I wasn't good at. Like, okay, first, boom, sales. Gotta do that. So from then on, like, I started going, like, every day, like, the majority of my day was just, like, learning, YouTubing, like, really good salesman on YouTube. I forgot his name. I was looking at a lot of Jordan Belfort, of course. Not him, but, like, this other guy named, I think it's
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone. Like, there's a lot of these great salesmen. And what I did is, like, I started making a study guide, basically, like, literally a talk sheet of, like, how to counter objections, each and every objection. What do each one of them say? Which one do I like? How do I combine them? So, like, developing this whole, like, method, and every day when I wake up, it's the first thing I turn on. Like, we talk about, like, audiobooks. First thing I turn on, boom, I'm listening to my own notes of, like, what, and I'm slowing it down and trying to answer my own questions before they come up. Like, okay, next needs to be said this. And that's like the whole process of, like, getting better at that. But that was, like, I've noticed from then, I'm getting further and further into deals. Like, I haven't got, where I'm at right now, here's your question, is, like, I haven't got the bigger deals that I thought that I would be able to get, like, these full out renovations.
Right.
Like, the deals that are the work I've done so far has been, like, really small type of, like, renovations, like, repair, like, windows and stuff like that, which was also, like, a humbling thing as well. Like, you think you're gonna come out and kill it.
Build homes is like,
you gotta start that from the bottom, like, literally from the bottom, and still, like, taking that as, like, a building block, like, just keep going, and it gets bigger and bigger. That's awesome. So
yeah, I'm gonna give you my list of sales books. I got some good ones.
love to have them, but like but I've noticed from that as well is like it's definitely been difficult, but I have like now I'm at the point like I'm this close from closing like this really big like deal like it's like inside of this it's like a whole turning a whole garage into a Airbnb type space and then totally doing the inside of their kitchen as well as the exterior. Like this is like a possible like $100,000 plus deal that I'm like this close on, and I've only got that close because I was able to see the sales side of like move like guiding somebody through a conversation, building that rapport up, and getting to the point. 2 months ago would have been kicked out at the beginning,
right?
And this is something I've been working on with this person for like a month. So like,
yeah, I mean, just to mention it too. I just thought like you also don't have the economy on your side either,
oh
right?
my God, we're right into the recession, and it's going into the holidays. Like, there's a lot of stuff. I was like, shit, like
timing might not be optimal.
The best, but what else would I have done?
No, if not now, when, right? If not now, when?
Exactly, we could be, you know what I'm saying? Like, exactly, like I was getting this like wherever, whenever the economy was at whatever time. But and one of my mentors, Jared Franklin, and you know, he reminded me of that. I was like, dude, you get into this because I saw him reach. My mentors have reached success extremely quickly, but they started at a different time. I started at IDA, like right when IDA hit.
Oh wow! Oh my God! So they're literally coming in and just fixing everything. It's like,
there was no. I mean, you could. The permitting was off. Like literally, the permitting part of New Orleans is like you know, just build it.
You got to fix your stuff. Yeah.
Now it's a lot more strict.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So there's a lot of other factors, and that kind of goes into like the other side of like you're really like running your own race. You can't be comparing yourself to other people.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And everything is like get your head down, you know, and just focus on like you and what your process is. I don't know if I'm
no, that's good.
That question.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I guess one thing to mention, if you stick around New Orleans enough, you might have to, there'll be another chance to rebuild the city. Exactly, you know, like just so possible. Yeah, not like no one's hoping for that. You're not hoping for that, but like that's kind of that comes with the territory. Exactly. I mean, really, like I'm
here to help though. Like I'm
it's amazing.
An exploitive contractor. I'm fully licensed, fully insured. I'm definitely like I told you at the beginning of this podcast that like I really love this city. I feel like this is like my community. So like if something were to happen, a storm to come through like that, like of course, like it's an opportunity for my business, but it's also an opportunity to have a real good and trustworthy contractor helping you build your home back. Because a lot of people in New Orleans have not had that in the past with Katrina, so they've been taken advantage of. Right. So a lot of aspect of my business is making sure that I'm not gonna be doing that.
Yeah, no, of course.
Investing for that. So like it would definitely be something like I would, if I wasn't doing construction, I'd be here anyway, picking up trash, trees, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know it's great. Like part of the reason I like one thing about business I love is just that it's the opportunity to, you know, help people and like give people like, you know, if you are an honest business person, like you're genuinely the reason that people are giving you money because they need something that you have the ability to provide. You know, you're providing a service, and of course, they're, you know, it's not usury to be compensated. You know, as long as it's a fair deal. And I guess I mean, I know in your business, like it's going to be referrals are going to be a big deal as well. Yeah. You know, you treat people right. It's just your network grows as
the information provided on this podcast is intended to be educational and informational only and is not considered to be formal legal advice.
Yeah, there's just so much.
The listener should not take or refrain from taking action based on its content. Any listener in need of legal opinion upon which to rely in decision making should consider formally engaging an attorney to review relevant facts in detail and examine the pertinent law as it applies to those facts.
Earlier, like the biggest aspect you asked me what my inspiration was, like the aspect of my business is being able to live the lifestyle that I want to live. Like I'm a business major, but also like I'm huge into I was an environmental studies major as well. I did a lot of like social justice type work during college and community type work as well. So like I'm definitely still going to be implementing. That's the flexibility and possibility of being your own, having your own business, is that you are your brand. You get to implement what you want, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, I'm really excited about doing that. Like being able to implement like the lifestyle, but also like the beliefs and like the laurels and whatever type of engagement, like I have the possibility to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And so I guess on that, like what is the vision for your business going forward? What's the success criteria? What's the end goal? Where you hope to end up? You can go as far in the future as you want, you know?
And we talked about this before.
Of course.
I think my end goal, and I talked to my mom about this, just, my biggest goal with this is not to take Rellestate to this huge, corporate type of company. It could, it may, maybe, like if it gets there, I don't know. But that's not what I want to do. What I want, my business model is to be as lean as possible. Like anything that I can do, I'm gonna do it. And if I get busier, like whether that expands, but I'm not trying to have this entire huge like operation of like different like people that I'm self-employing, like that are on like a W-2 or
right.
I'm trying to be as lean as possible because again, I'm not trying to make this like this enormous like construction company. I'm trying to use this as leverage into getting into real estate and being a very efficient developer or exchanges. That's a word. Like
did you mean
like I want to be able to be really lean and so like success for Rellestate would really looking like, obviously I'm not handling like the accounting. That's one thing. Like I can give any advice to any entrepreneurs listening, like get your own accountant. I don't care if you think you're an accountant. If you're an entrepreneur, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're not paying that much money in order to have somebody like save you. Like
the biggest headache.
You don't have, it's such a headache. You have so much more to worry about than constantly having to worry about like your transactions. It's tax season. I'm 23 years old. Like I've never had to pay taxes before. Like now I'm gonna go pay. Like I was on the phone with my accountant today. And it was like, yo, let's talk. Like I'm kind of nervous about this. I have no idea what he was like. I got you. Like we've already set all these programs up. I already have it all logged in. And I was like, bet.
There's no withholding when you're your own business. There's no who's withholding the taxes, right?
Exactly. It's on you. So like, big advice, get an accountant. Don't worry about it. But like success for me would just to be as a very lean company with very little overhead, but still able to do any type of build out. Right now, it looks like it just wants to be like residential. Maybe I'll start going into commercial if it's like, affordable housing or something like that. But like very, very lean, very small. That's kind of what that would look like. I'm not trying to make say a huge, like you see me on these like
billboards, right?
I have like an insane marketing budget and stuff. Cause like to me, like my philosophy of like business and my goals of entrepreneurship is not to be, I already told you I want to live a lifestyle that I want to live. And that includes just having the time and ability to step away from my business when I want to, and for how long I want to. When you have a lot of employees, huge, marketing like budget or things like all these different overheads, like
the overhead
you can
it's burn
a lot
right
of money, but like the cost of running your business is high as well. So the second you really stop or want to take time away, or you're always still having to be within like your business and whatnot, and to me it's just not attractive. I don't want to do that.
It goes completely full circle to where we started in the conversation, because it's about your lifestyle too. It's part of your inspiration, so if it's a burden, that doesn't solve the problem that you're trying to achieve, but really it's the opportunity to have, the, I guess, lifestyle and the flexibility to do what you want when you want. And that's beautiful. It's a awesome way to do it. And okay, so I don't know if this is jumping, or it's okay if you don't want to talk about it, but I'm curious about this build out, this Airbnb build out. I know you haven't, I wouldn't want to talk about it because you haven't secured the deal yet, but because I don't know if you're superstitious about it, but I'm just curious in terms of, what does that look like? Like what's your,
construction standpoint, or like what it's kind of like
from your contribution, like your creative capacity, or like, what's the vision in terms of like, how do you go about figuring out what to do, and what, like, how you decide what you think it should look like? What's just I don't really know much about the bar.
That's a good question. Like it's a whole process, and like part of that one, again, I have not been through this entire front end process. I've been in build out processes, but there's a lot of stuff that goes in before this. Again, marketing, customer development, or client development as well.
Right.
But permitting, in order to you have to have a building permit in order, like rent out like a habitable space.
Right.
It's type of work right now. It's not IDA anymore. You can't just get away with building something out and putting it out. In order to get a permit, you have to have some type of drawings, usually structural engineer or an architect. So like that's a whole other dynamic as well.
Is that overhead prior to even securing the deal?
It's something that, so that's it's depends on how you want to structure your deal. You can, there's a few ways, like you can talk about that with the client, say, hey, like this, what we're going to do, like in order to get the drawings, because in order to get the drawing, you have to have, it has to be also with a structural engineer. Like they have to go like hand in hand. Yeah,
they also see the property.
So that's like, okay, well, who's paying for it? Is it going to be me or you? Like that's like a real conversation to have. And it's a conversation that kind of, technically, like it's before you can even really give a true bid, right?
That's
like,
so true.
Because I know if I were to do it right now, if I didn't need to have a building permit, it would be golden. Like I already know exactly how many sheets of drywall are going to go. 12 sheets of drywall. I know who my bathroom tiling team is going to be. I know who's going to hang the shelves and stuff. Boom, boom, boom. But with permitting, we have to make sure that this is structurally sound. Yeah. Like that is going to withstand this. We have to make sure, like, what does the infrastructure look like underneath? Can we put
extra weight and
extra weight as a roof? Can it sustain a roof?
The foundations in New Orleans are not great.
Foundation good?
Yeah, is the building?
How do you know?
I mean, like this house is a little bit slanted. Not, I don't know if you can tell, but yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean. That's cool.
A lot of stuff. Freaking plumbing. Like, can you run plumbing through the slab? Like, that was a huge thing that we were thinking. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna crack this slab. Like, we had to really get an understanding of what we can do. So it was constant like back and forth, and that kind of goes with the reality of like a construction process. It doesn't even matter how much you know. Has to be a very transparent process, because there were a lot of times these clients specifically are trying to see if they want to put a camelback on top of it, and we're trying to figure out
camelback.
A camelback is like an addition to a house. Either it can be on the back that you're adding onto, or literally on top of the house.
I know what you mean. I've seen them.
Single unit, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out which one to do. So I don't have my structural engineer involved at this point.
Oh,
so
that's like a big deal. Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, okay, what's your goal? So that's a big part of the process as well. And it's not just like, okay, what do you want, but why do you want it? What's your goal? Because I'm also a professional. Like I have a team.
They don't even know what they want sometimes too, and they don't know. They don't know either. Like you got to help them with the vision. Exactly. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
You have to, and I also am connected with architects and structural engineers that can give me advice on what we can and cannot do, or what sounds good. And I'm able to offer that. So like she wanted this, and then I was like, we started talking more like, okay, what's your why? What are you trying to get out of this? And it really turned out like, oh, I don't just want a camelback. I want it because I want to Airbnb it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, you have this shed right here. It's like 10 by 18. I'm like, that is literally the same space that you would put up there. This has a foundation framing. Like this is significantly cheaper. You can get the same, like your ROI is going to be a lot quicker than you putting it up on there, which is going to cost way more money.
Yeah, cut a hole in your roof and whatever. Yeah, it's crazy.
You have to make sure that the whole structure can withstand that much weight.
Right.
So now you're dealing with the foundation of a pre-World War home. Right?
Yeah.
A lot more risk as well. And then like what's the whole thing of like real estate? You're trying to limit your risk and have the most upside as possible.
That's it.
It's going to take you a longer time to get that upside, because it costs more. Is a lot more.
And time is a huge aspect, because especially if you have like, I mean, maybe not in this situation, but if you have a construction loan, every single month you're paying high interest rate, like literally every single, like the whole expression. I mean, yeah, it's definitely a grind, but the whole the expression is like rather save a second than save $1.
Exactly. And that's what, honestly, it goes back to why I wanted to get this construction side nailed down. Like I'm really in the construction. I'm like, man, this is going to help me when I learn, like, okay, now I'm going to know exactly how long this is going to take, because that's what kind of can kill or get you sunk into, strapped to a deal, is you think it's going to take this amount of time. It takes way longer. It ends up being more money, and you end up losing your equity, or like how much money you could have got out of that deal, because the construction side of it, which is honestly like the most I would say unpredictable, but like it's the hardest to like get right. I feel like.
Yeah. No,
How are we doing on time?
yeah, we're good. But yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I guess the theme is you don't know what you don't know. But I'm wondering, how do you know that you know anything at all?
Are we at this at the
Yeah, we're at the philosophy stage of the podcast. No, yeah, Sorrell and I talk about philosophy a lot, so I thought that we'd pick some philosophy theme to ponder on the episode. And so yeah, I guess the question is, how do you know that you know anything?
How do you know that you know anything?
Yeah, how do you know that anything that you know is really knowledge? It's really true.
I mean, what I've been like thinking so far right now is like, you really don't. Like, who is to tell? Like,
Yeah.
who is to tell? Like, I know, like, and you probably have a lot more insight into this as well. We're talking about, is it epistemology?
Yeah.
Like
Theory of knowledge.
Yeah, theory of that, and everything that is that you learn from somebody else, or that you're seeking, you're still coming from like a individualistic like perspective of things, and you see like over time like things change, like theories they evolve, or like they go out the window.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, that was like the shit, like that was what was right, everybody agreed with it,
Yeah.
everybody knew it was it, and then somebody hundreds, however many years, maybe in the same lifetime, comes out, actually, hey, there's something else that we need to consider. Now it goes out the window. That understanding of what people were thinking knowledge was, what you were thinking knowledge was, has now been, there's a new frame.
I mean, like, think about the Copernicus. Like, he gets he's treasonous, or he's impious for thinking that the Earth is round, or thinking that the Earth is not the center of the universe, or saying that the sun is the center of the solar system. That can get you killed. But like nowadays, obviously, there's no church out there murdering people for radical ideas, but like there's still the institution of science. And when you have a theory that goes against it, you can take a lot of grief. It can be really hard to have those theories. So, I mean, I think like just in terms of science and knowledge, like progressing, like the openness of being able to say an opinion that's dissenting, that's opposite from the mainstream. Like if we silence people from saying like a theory that's counter to some theory in science or in knowledge or in philosophy, that could get us into trouble, because it doesn't broaden the range of possible solutions. Because I guess ever since Plato, Aristotle, even the same thing holds true. The more you know, the less you know, right?
Yeah,
like the extent, like the edge of the unknown expands as the knowledge
like
expands.
How far that can expand one, like unknown.
Could be infinite.
Exactly.
It could be infinite, but we don't know. We don't know what the extent of knowledge is itself. But I mean, I think about it a lot in terms of just like, there has to be you have to be making a fundamental assumption to believe anything you believe, right? The fundamental assumption has to be that reality, the things that we pick up with our senses, we have to assume that those things are reality, right? The alternative would be we're in the Matrix and all this is fake. This is not real. This is all a figment of something else. And the other assumption you have to make, I guess, in terms of living the human life, is that other people are also the same thing as you, that they are also real, right? They're not part of the simulation, right? So it's like, those are two assumptions you have to make to have a life with other people. I guess it's like I could be asking you for advice, and if you were not real, you could be just telling me things that are untrue. Like, it's just like, so there are fundamental assumptions. I happen to believe that people are real, that other people are real, and that, I mean, I'm less sure that reality is real, but I do think other people are real, but this could just be, I mean, if you think about it, like most of things are empty space. Like most of this table is like more than 90% empty space, literally nothing. Everything that you think is a thing.
So like we think that it's like this little small thing.
Right, the space between electron and right, even the space between the electron and the nucleus is like orders of magnitude bigger than each of the components.
Yeah. So I think that's what's interesting on like trying to put into frame of like where we're at and how like small things are or how big things are
Yeah.
is so relative.
Yeah, scale is
Like,
tough.
like we're looking at like we're talking about atoms and how they're small they are, the distance
Yeah.
between like the electrons and like the quarks inside, but like there's things that are so big that we are that small too as well. And then like even from there, like it's just like this like ever ending almost like system of
There's time itself, what's the size of time, right? How long is time? Like, is it infinite? Like, that's even, we have the beginning of the universe. That's probably, it feels weird to say that's the beginning of time, like, because what was before
like
there?
our universe. Exactly. I was
Yeah.
thinking about that. Like, okay, so what was before that? And I think something like, what is that book called? Dissension.
Yeah, it's the it has to all do about the, I mean, I referred to it a little bit. It has to do with the edge of knowledge. That's the great unknown.
Great unknown. Who's that called?
It's by
Like
Marcus de Satoy.
goes back like I really be forgetting names and
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah,
but like that's a big concept that that he goes into is just like the endlessness of like all these like different like possibilities and yeah, how we like we're just looking at it from like our perspective of like being human. So like we don't have the capacity to like look at it from outside of that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be radical here, and I have no experience in physics. I mean, I took AP Physics in high school, but that's the full extent of my formal physical or physics knowledge, and then also YouTube University, obviously. But my theory, and maybe physicists would be like, this is crazy, this is dumb, but to me, it seems like makes pretty like some sense. It seems pretty obvious, right? So the theory that I have is that there's two huge, like, I guess astrophysical concepts that we know the least about, right? What happened before the Big Bang, right? We know the millisecond after the Big Bang, we have like I guess waves or some like resonance that we could pick up from that point of right when the Big Bang happened. The thing that we also know we don't know is what's on the inside of a black hole, right? Because there's an event horizon which no information could come out of black hole. It sucks in light, it sucks in energy, it sucks in mass, and nothing escapes the black hole, right?
Well,
so my theory is that we don't know anything about what happens in a black hole. We know that all the mass gets pointed into a singularity, like that all of the mass and energy gets sucked into and forms a single point at the middle of the black hole. We also know the Big Bang was a single point that started, and now we have all of the mass and energy in the universe. My theory is that each universe, our universe, was the point, the singularity of a black hole in another universe. That all of the mass and energy sucked into a black hole built up so much inside a black hole that it came out and started a whole new universe. That all the energy, all the black holes are possibly new universes. And that's like that's the connection between the multiverse theory. That, there's obviously a theory that there's a multiverse, that there's all these different exact same versions of, different universes, that this could be the connection. Like the black hole is the start of a new universe. And the reason it makes sense is because there's singularity in both, and the Big Bang started as a single point, and like we know, like with the fabric of space time, it's like if you, right, you think about it as a sheet, it sucks down, and like eventually it might get to a point
where it just bursts.
Yeah. And it's the opposite, right? It's like the black hole's like a funnel down. Yeah. The Big Bang is literally the opposite of a funnel out, right? I don't know how that works, but that's my theory. And now it's going to be public. So now when some physicist proves it, it's me because they're proving my theory. It's here. You heard it here now. So yeah, it's official.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's it. That's the theory. That's it. Yeah. So now I have to learn how to prove it. Which is
probably need some more mathematics.
Yeah, I'm not too good at math. I got an A in calculus though. But yeah, so I guess instead of proving that, have someone else prove it. Hopefully I make enough money in real estate where I can maybe give a grant. Yeah, that would be a cool thing to be able. Yeah, the Ben Malek Foundation will fund research into this theory. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Ben Malek Foundation. Yeah. Well, on that, ready for the lightning round? The lightning round.
Oh shit! I didn't know there was a lightning round.
It's a lightning round. All right, starts easy, it gets harder. So, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I could have any superpower, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
I think if I had any superpower, I would have time travel.
Cool. What's that?
I don't know what we're talking about right now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like it'd be just dope to like experience for me like just different aspects of like human development. Like as like going far back,
dude,
and then comparing that to what that would look like in the future. Like I always like think about like people that were like trendsetters like back, like they revolutionized this and that. And it's like imagine me with my thoughts and my perspective that is you can't take that away from me if I'm time traveling. I would be going back. Like would I be able to like what would I find out? What would I be able to like teach and like going like forward? Like we look at these. Yeah.
So if you could only go backwards or forward, which way would you go?
I think I'll go forward. I would go forward.
Yeah.
And because like I'm just so intrigued by like, I mean, I'm just really intrigued by just like where we're getting with like space travel and quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Like I'm really, really big into I don't have a huge physics background. So again, YouTube University, shout out.
Yeah, it's legit.
But like
they want you to think that YouTube doesn't have good information.
Yeah.
The institutions are competing.
Yeah, for sure. You can watch it from YouTube. Like but where we're getting with like quantum computers and like just understanding
AI.
Quantum mechanics and like the possibility of like they've made a wormhole in like a lab. I'm not sure if you like,
I didn't see
that. Like
that's crazy.
Really small, like really on the atomic level, but like
wow.
There's these. I just think that it's gonna be. I would love to like be like a space traveler and like explore like these different things and all these things that we're asking questions on right now. It feels like we're at a point in a sense that we're like kind of what we talked about with epistology. Is that what
epistemology?
Yeah. It's like, how do you know? It's like we're at a place right now where I feel like a lot of people are very like, no, I mean, Socrates is different, but like, it's like the humbling realization for a normal society, like, damn, we don't know a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And like, I would be cool to go forward in time and we start to like uncover like what's really like in a black hole, or like how far can we go, and like having like other, like I think that's
true.
Cool. Like going backwards would be dope, but going forward is, I think, I'm a huge sci-fi nerd.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe you can see dinosaurs either way. Maybe we'll have
right? Dinosaurs. I go back, like it's like fun and dandy. We're gonna like be space traveling and like the world's gone. Like
I know. You don't know. You don't know what you don't know. What's going on in the future? But
that's a bigger risk if we go forward.
Yeah, it is. Who knows?
You'll like it. But
there's tons of things we don't know about the past too, though. I mean, so my answer would be there's one thing that I want more than anything in the entire universe, I could say, because I want to see Aristotle's dialogues. So Aristotle has like treatises where he like writes out philosophical like theories, but like the way that Plato did his philosophy was through dialogues. Like he had Socrates as a character and he had the interlocutor as a character, and they would have a conversation and the theories would be embedded in that conversation. Aristotle wrote dialogues. There's history. We know that he wrote dialogues, but they were all burnt in the fire in Alexandria. Like the big library in Alexandria that got burnt during the Inquisition, I think, or not the Inquisition, during whatever, some crusade, something religious, right? I want to see Aristotle's dialogues. That would be the one thing that I want.
One thing that you bring back.
If I had to choose one place to go, like that is what I'd want from the past more than anything. That was I guess that would be my favorite book if it existed. But what is the next question is what's your favorite book and what's the one that helped you the most, maybe?
Definitely, dude, Sapien. Like
Sapiens.
Talk about this generic, but man,
it's a great book.
I'm glad it's a generic, like it's
people need to know that stuff. Like Sapiens is a great book.
Yeah, if you haven't read Sapiens by Yuval Harari, like that, it doesn't matter what you're interested in.
It's the whole history of humanity.
It's whole entire history from every perspective. I mean, you get your understanding of the concept of money, of transaction, of religion. It touches the root of everything. So you really, when you read that book, you have to really unpack your biases or what you were taught And I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you have to really like unpack what you were taught and what you know, because there is a trace that not just that there's a link of time of like seeing this stuff develop, but you can see the psychology develop of it as well, like the concept that is just being embedded, like the development. I'm not religious, so like the development of religion and the development of monotheism from polytheism, and it goes back and back, and you can kind of see. So even if you are going to be adamant about your faith, adamant at your beliefs, whatever, economic beliefs as well, like whatever, social structures, capitalism, whatever, understanding where that comes from and like why, and seeing how interpretable a lot of this stuff is, then you're able to really unpack it and develop a true understanding of what you're thinking, because you're gonna have to like look at it from these like root of where it came from. It's not just like you just grew up with it and like you have all this academic information about it. There's a historical development of it, and I think that's what is so amazing about Sapien, is it really takes you from like square zero of human development. Even before that, I mean,
the first line is incredible. If you guys, if someone's not going to read it, definitely go listen to the preview, because the first line is incredible. I can't remember what it is, but it was like, it's a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger. I just remember it blew my mind. Like, it is, yeah. I mean, it's good.
But also like goes into human development, but even before that, like even the separation of like, what is a sapien? Like, what is a Homo sapien?
Oh yeah.
Where does that come from? Where did we start out? Like the theories of how we like migrated and what was before us, it's still a part of our history as well, and it's traceable. So it really does, that book challenges a lot of concepts that we think are concrete, like religion, and like social dynamics and the concept of like money. Like it really does challenge it through just like
it's just
anthropology, through history.
Anthropology would be a great way to say it. It's just well written too. It's like so I mean, we touched on this one already, but what motivates you every day?
What motivates me every day? I mean, well, my business, I mean, I am my like Rellestate, like that's me. Like I already said this earlier, like what inspires me is like attaining that type of like lifestyle I have. And I think that's what motivates me every day, is to have that type of lifestyle, and what that means to me and what that looks like. That's what motivates me every day, because I know I don't have it right now. And I know I'm on a pace to get it, and I'm taking those constructive, concrete steps to get it. But like that's what like motivates me every day, is is everything I'm doing right now, is this plan that I have every day, is me waking up today and doing whatever I'm going to be doing, is it getting me closer to that goal, or is it not? And again, like we can talk about like whatever my lifestyle may look like, but if like you're curious about that, but like that's my motivation. Is it's not, honestly, like, I mean, as I don't even know what word to call it. I guess like I think we're taught to have this bigger goal of life, and like to have this, push your limits on your industry or something like that, or even like set your kids up, and there's all these like very generic things that are like really great things and cool stuff, but like I think that's side stuff that can come along with it. But like again, like my biggest aspect in real estate is not even to make this like the biggest thing possible. I want it to be a catalyst, a tool in order to have that, because I think truthfully, like, I mean, we're stuck in, even though I'm blessed to be in America, like you're still stuck to a like 9 to 5, like you're like working, and I really don't like the concept of having to like
have a boss too, right?
To what?
Have a boss
Not just have a boss, to like even like work, like like I'm working my ass off, like don't always have to work, but like it's I talked to one of my friends, is a teammate of mine. He's also an entrepreneur. His name's Jalen Monroe. He has his own photography and design company. He had talked about this as well. It's like if you it doesn't even matter how much money you have, if you're still working yourself to like death, and like you're not living a lifestyle that you want, you're still a slave to something. still slave the money to the system of like some type of like capitalism, like whatever that may be. And that's what I don't want to be. Like I want to be fully financially free, but also psychologically free. I have no wherewithal and have no connection or care about, proving something to somebody, reaching these ideas of what we get in college, perfectionism of like success. Like I don't really give a hell. Like I want to live the life that I want to live. And that is very low key, like very like nomadic in a sense.
It's just the way to bring it that kind of together is just like the fact that your life is not for some end in the future. You're not going right now, you're working towards where you want to be, but where you want to be is the life that you have every day, right? So like you are trying to get to a place in life where every day you wake up and it's how you want it to be, right? Where it's not, I'm not working to make all this money so that I could get something in the future, right? That's a big key because if the end is something in the future that you can't, that it's not about the journey. This is the cliche. It's that it's about the journey. It's not about the destination. Your end is to create the journey of your dreams, like the life that you want to live, right? The real end of life is death, right? And so pretty much if the thing that you want in the future is if all you're doing right now is just for something in the future, the end could come before that.
Yeah.
And truly there is no end, right? The end is the end. There's nothing after that. So just bringing in the philosophy aspect, but it's important to strive for the life to be the life that you want it to be.
And I think that's what I've struggled with a lot is understanding like this is a life that I want to live. Am I living that right now? And like you said, like loving the journey of it. But the reality of it is, well, it's like, and I tell myself that all the time. Like sometimes, man, like this journey of entrepreneurship and starting my own shit has been one of the single-handedly most psychologically difficult things I've ever done in my life. Like I've been through hell physically and mentally with football.
Right.
Like I pushed myself to the brim of physical whatever I could do, and mental too to even get there.
Right.
This is still one of the most challenging things. It's challenging my mental health, like a lot of these things, and like sometimes I was thinking like, okay, like at the end of the day, like this is part of your journey. Like this is just part of it. Learn to love yourself now and learn your journey right now because, like you said, you never know when it can be taken away. And so like sometimes like this morning, like I woke up and like I said, so just a little insight with that deal that I was talking about, the garage put out stuff was going great. Got this close. I'm this close. I pushed a little bit too hard at the end for a consultation fee and like trying to like get, like finalize the structural engineer stuff. I'm trying to figure out my process.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, whoa, like now I'm kind of overwhelmed. Let's reconnect after the holidays. Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, dang. And this is like to start my morning off. So I'm like, but then like I just started laughing. I was like, damn, like because I'm just gonna keep going again. Like this is part of it. Like here it goes. But like I think that's I was trying to wrap this up and like that's like the duality, the irony, I guess, or something that's like a struggle for me is that even though trying to like love the process and love the journey because you don't know when it's going to end, and like one day I am going to look back on this just like I looked back on my college experience that I thought sometimes like shitful, like I hated it, and like now I'm like, wow, like I love that moment when I was down or whatever, like man, whatever like
makes you who you are.
Yeah, exactly, whatever it may be. But one thing that is the duality of like struggling right now is that part of the life that I want to live is financially unstrapped, like and no obligation to like a work setting. So like even the fact of having to do that right now is still like
it's part of
like,
it, right?
It's part of it. I'm just like, fuck, I genuinely don't want to be doing that. It's a weird thing. And then like to not just like that's my goal, but I'm working so hard to get there. So I am like so fully into this system, and I know that no other way to get out of it. You have to like grind through it and like overcome it, and it's like that's the grit of it.
Yeah,
that's
the process,
and that's like my philosophy or like outlook on like capitalism, and like you can complain about it or think however you want about it, whatever lifestyle or whatever work you want to do, but you're still going to be within it and you can't get out of it. And it does take a different type of, work ethic, different type of job or entrepreneurship mentality to understand how to get out of that. And,
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah.
Well, I guess the last question lightning round would be, if you have a question for me, or what or I can put you on the spot. So I want to give you a chance for revenge, right?
Yeah.
So what's the question you got for me?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Lil, and I was thinking to myself, like, what inspires you? Like where do you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, the journey that I'm on is a journey of constant progress, of constant growth, that I'm always trying to be better than I was yesterday. And that in and of itself is the success of life that I can achieve, that every day I'm growing. I mean, it's easy to say right now when I'm a student where like I'm here to learn, but I want to be a student of life. I want to be a student every single day. I mean, I'm a philosophy major. That's there's a reason, I chose to study philosophy, because like philosophy is just like how to learn, how to live a good life. Like it is like the real questions of life. But the only way to figure it out is to think about it, to do it, to live the life, to experience it. And so I mean, like, I guess ultimately I want the day I die to be myself in my peak form, right? That I have every single day I've gotten better. That wherever it ends, it's the top of the mountain. Wherever I end, wherever my life ends, that's the highest point of my life. Like, and it's a constant trajectory upward where I'm constantly growing, constantly getting better. And I guess that's all I can really do is just continue to improve myself and to get better and to learn. I mean, in doing that, I want to have an impact on the people around me. I want to, part of when I'm in a low point in my life mentally, if I ever have like, sad, if I ever feel down, it's I usually am taken out of that down period when I start helping other people, or like when I help other people, that always re-inspires me and brings me back to my my positive state, because like life can be really lonely, but when you bring other people into your life and when you enter other people's life, that's when you realize like the interconnectedness of all of humanity and all of people, and like what makes us all the same. And that really, it's like sometimes there was a time in my life when I would think like I am trying to be successful in order to have money and in order to have knowledge and skills and in order so that I can help people, right? And then I realized that I can help people today. I can, my friend is, dealing with some issue. I can talk to them and I can help them today. Someone doesn't know what they're doing on their homework. I can, share my knowledge today. And it's like, I'm realizing it's like, I'm not working to help people in the future. I help people every day. And like, just keeping that perspective that like, I don't want to put the end out into the future. I want the mission, the goal to be now.
That's some beautiful shit right there. That's dope.
Appreciate it.
Cool. And it makes me really unpack and think about, that's what I was like, my version of why I kind of talked about that earlier too, is like I'm really heavy on like environmental studies. Like you did philosophy, like I did a lot of environmental engagement or social justice work, and like that's something that I as well, like I really find joy in, and being able to do that. And like that's what part of like that life of like I'm doing that now, but that's like undisturbed.
Yeah.
So I'm just fully like being able to do this. Like that's also where it wants to be. And like, so like implementing that and like withholding that within my life as well is also important to me.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, this was an amazing conversation. I understand why people do podcasts in person. There's something about it. It's like, we could talk at the same time, or, like my sentence ends, your sentence can begin, right? There's no formality of the structure of Zoom. So it's definitely nice to have it in person. But if anyone is looking for general contracting, construction services, anything you can do, what's your email? What's your
my card? So again, it's Rellestate Renovations, Rellestate Renovations. I'm in New Orleans, in greater New Orleans area. My phone number is 504-470-3002. You can follow me on any social media platform at Rellestate Renovations. Again, fully licensed, fully insured, and like I'm young. I like have a lot to learn, but I am very, confident with my capabilities and my team. And yeah, and I'm gonna be transparent throughout that entire process. So
awesome.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. Well, Sorrell, everyone listening, keep making milestones.
Oh, and I would like to say thank you, Ben, for having me on here, man. This was honestly like an awesome conversation, and I'm glad you gave me this opportunity.
Of course, it's my pleasure. It was a great experience. Happy to have met you and glad to keep doing it. And I can't wait to see where you're going. And I'm sure our paths will cross many times.
I'm talking more about philosophy when we hang about
philosophy, real estate. Dude, it's great to have people like you to talk to. Awesome. Well, keep making milestones. Before you go, I just wanted to say thanks again for tuning in to another awesome episode of Real Estate Milestones. If you've been enjoying the show and you'd like to offer your support, please leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It's the best way to increase the show's visibility and help the message get out to a greater audience. I really appreciate your time and support, and keep making milestones.
The information provided on this podcast is intended to be educational and informational only and is not considered to be formal legal advice. The listener should not take or refrain from taking action based on its content. Any listener in need of legal opinion upon which to rely in decision-making should consider formally engaging an attorney to review relevant facts in detail and examine the pertinent law as it applies to those facts.